Welcome to the show, everybody. This is episode number 261 of the Iron Coop Fights movies. This episode is available on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, and hosted by SoundCloud. Please check out my graphic novel. The ebook is only $2.99. Link in the description. I'm Kier, your host. With me on the show today are my co-hosts Emerson
Hey, what's up?
and Everett.
Hey, what's up?
This week, the team reviews X-Men: The Last Stand. The discovery of a cure for mutations leads to a turning point for mutants. They may now choose to give up their powers and become fully human or retain their uniqueness and remain isolated. War looms between the followers of Charles Xavier, who preaches tolerance, and those of Magneto, who advocate survival of the fittest. I'm going to explain our rating system. On this show, we give the titles that we have watched a rating of win, draw, or loss. A win is a title that we would highly recommend, while a draw is a title we didn't love or recognize others may appreciate. A loss means we do not recommend the title. Emerson, you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm going to give this a draw. I totally see why people were not, why it's said that it's bad. I think that there's a lot of plot points here that are just like super Whiplash-esque, characters coming back from the dead and like, okay, this is happening now. And there's a lot of almost Deus Ex Machina moments where things are happening that I could see being very confusing. That being said, I think there's some cool scenes, there's some cool themes. They do some, ballsy stuff. So I see why people would like it. I did not like it as much as the second one, which is the only one I've given a win so far, I think, of these three. So I see the criticism, but I also think it's not quite as bad as I remember people talking about it being.
Everett?
I'm going to give it a draw as well. I kind of teetered on win and draw. I didn't hate this movie. Like, I have a lot of nostalgia for it, but yeah, it's got a lot of weird decisions that people made in it. Strange scenes, strange dialogue. One note I put down is that some of the scenes that play in this movie are now completely useless or overshadowed just because of the movies that now exist. Like you watch any like the future movies, like they overwrite a lot of stuff in this movie. It kind of makes it a little pointless to watch. But there were some good acting choices. I liked Kelsey Grammer as Beast, and I liked the design that they gave to Angel as opposed to his Apocalypse counterpart. But overall, I think this is just a good way to describe it. Is this movie's just a downgrade from the last one we watched. I mean, it doesn't really improve in many ways. So yeah, it's a draw.
For me, this is also a draw. I think it's definitely the worst of the three, but not by much. People act like it's an abomination. It's not. The reality is the Dark Phoenix stuff is really what's wrong with the film. And if you cut that out, you could do a lot more stuff with like the war, which would have been more interesting. And for that reason, it's a draw because it just doesn't quite hit the right levels. Also, the ending is really stupid. But I give it a draw. Like, I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of aspects of it. I think the whole mutation cure conversation is really interesting, and I would like to see more of that. Yeah, so that's a draw. So we can go into spoilers now. I've got some notes on this one. I really like what they did with Angel. I like that they show him as a kid trying to like shave off the feathers or the wings, I guess, because the bones were protruding or something. Like, that's pretty gruesome.
It is gruesome, and I agree. I like that. The only problem I had with Angel is the CGI just wasn't really there yet in some ways. So a lot of times when he's flying around, it just looks really funny. Like, really
I think
funny.
it looks funny anyway because he had
he's got giant wings.
We're used to people like flying like Superman style, like with their fist out or something. And it's just weird to see a guy like who has wings. Like, if you notice, like with the vulture with his wings, he's carrying a gun. Like, doesn't look as odd. So I like that. So I was thinking, like, what could you have done to fix this trilogy in general to make the third movie better? And I think, because if you think about it, we've discussed this before, the number of students in the school is really not that much compared to how many mutants are out there who need help.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier acts like he saves everybody he knows about. But like, what about all the mutants that are just out there that he knows about? that are like
He
in
knows
the
about
closet.
all of them because of Cerebro.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
and
It
there's
is a little odd. Like every time he uses Cerebro and he shows off like the mutants versus the humans, he kind of acts like, yeah, these are all my students, despite the fact that they live all around the world.
so I don't understand. Well, maybe you guys can explain it to me. What is his end game? What is Xavier's end game?
I think
Not
he
just
just
in this
wants
movie.
coexistence. Like in general, he's just like mutants will be accepted and we will live alongside humans and everything will be good.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he'd be
And so
content with just like running a school.
But his plan for that is to run like one school.
I think his plan is to use the X-Men as heroes to show the world that like we're not bad, we can be heroes. And then he's going to run a school where he can train those heroes who can go out and sort of.
That makes sense in a world where there's other superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's just mutants and you're going to do just the one school, because I assume that he recognizes the importance of just education, like in a safe place. These kids need a place to be comfortable. Well, the whole world is like that. I mean, if you really wanted to change people's minds, maybe don't build the jet. Maybe build a second school. Like, I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I guess that's like kind of a good question. Like, is it he kind of only takes care of like the kids and the teenagers? I mean, and I guess the adults are the X-Men, but how, I guess like that's the question. Like, how far do you go? Like, if you really want to protect mutants, like why not run for president or like at least be a senator and try to crack down on that kind of stuff?
I like the idea that like Hank was part of the first class and Hank has like moved on to bigger and better things in the real world. And that would be like a sign of like Professor Xavier actually creating change. How much money did he spend on the retractable basketball court is what I want to know.
The only thing though, because you're right, he spent the jet. The problem is that Magneto does stuff where they're essentially saying we need to get across the world in 5 minutes. So if he doesn't have the jet, the president gets killed. They lose New York. They lose.
Doesn't he have the ability to like possess people?
So
like
that's
mentally, sort of.
This one doesn't. This trilogy does not really put that forward. I think they
did it once in the first movie.
He does it all the time.
Wouldn't you say that maybe? Okay, I want to like prove that. Okay, let's just forget about the school aspect. I just want to prove that mutants can be friends to humans and that we can coexist. So I'm gonna get as many as I can and train them to like be heroes. His squad is so small. It's like 4 people. He's got all his students in there.
It expands and retracts because if you think about it, at the end of the last one, he has a pretty solid team of A-listers. He's got Pyro, Iceman,
Pyro leagues.
Yeah, Pyro defense.
I know, but if you think about it, when they attack the dam, right? You've got Pyro, Iceman, Rogue, Wolverine, Storm.
Oh yeah,
Jean,
what happened to Nightcrawler?
Fuck Nightcrawler. What happened? Why didn't they bring Colossus to the dam?
They had, and their Colossus existed. They had Cyclops. Like he had a big team, but then in this one, it's Iceman, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, Wolverine, and Storm. Right? Am I missing anyone?
Yeah. Like the shunning of Colossus is odd.
I wonder if it's a CGI thing. They just didn't feel like they could do him well over time.
Yeah. Well, remember they brought him back for Days of Future Past.
Yeah, and he was okay, but he was also used for.
He was the same way. He was only there for like 5 seconds.
I'm unironically excited for when we watch Apocalypse because I remember nothing about it, so I'm really hyped.
Okay, can I make one note about this movie? Sort of continuing off the other two. I feel so bad for what happens to Scott Summers because he really gets literally shafted in this movie.
Well, so this is what I was thinking as the change, which is Xavier has to know at some point he needs to build more schools.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would be, and it wouldn't be just him. Like there have to be other mutant people that are wealthy or come from wealthy families. And like, that should be his game is to like education, build it together, like create peaceful coexistence. He needs another.
You'd also have to like change the hearts and minds of those people because like I'm using Iceman's family as an example. I don't know if they're rich, but like what if you have a rich family that like detests mutants, so they won't give you any money, but they'll give you their kid to like, keep him at the school and stuff. You'd have to find someone who agrees with you, and that might be more difficult.
Yeah, but he can find investors and like, we're going to build a school for this cause. Like, it's charity. Like, people do that all the time. Like, we're going to build a school for inner city kids because they need it. Like,
I mean, if you want to go down a darker route, he could probably approach the government and be like, listen, I can make these teams that are way better than any of your special forces. Give me the money to make schools. I'm in charge of the education and the curriculum, and you get some X-Men teams when Al-Qaeda like attacks.
I actually think that that's not a bad arrangement. I mean, the kids, like, you'd have to say it up front to the kids, like, we're here to train you for a purpose of like, we're going to hone your skills while you get an education in a safe place. And, your parents don't want you. So like, it might be worth your while to come with us. You also have a skill set that we want. So it would be a private school. It would be selective. And I kind of would like to see a professor kind of acknowledge, like, you know what? Not everyone is a useful mutant.
What do you mean, dude?
Like, I would like to see him be like, this person doesn't serve our purpose. And maybe that could be a dilemma. Like, here's a mutant.
You mean like the kid that can turn TV channels with his eyes?
Yeah, like that guy. They're like, hey, this guy is like, his family is threatening to murder him if he comes back home. Can he come at the school? And professor's like, he doesn't really like help the team.
See, I feel like he has a use case if he can turn any electronic off.
Maybe
like for the U.S. government, they would take him.
But I would
turns
like
off a drone mid-flight.
I would like to see the professor be like pragmatic about it.
Well, here's a question. At the end of this movie, right? They take the cure kid to the school. Isn't that a serious problem? Because anywhere he is, he's just creating a field where no one has powers. So if they get attacked, they're fucked. If he wants to like fuck someone over, he can just go next to him and like he hard counters all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be okay. You would just have to have like a plan.
In fact, why didn't they just have that kid go right up next to Jean Grey?
Imagine
that would have totally like.
I assume because he would have died. Like,
yeah, but Wolverine can be in front of him.
Like, but here's the thing: they didn't have any. They didn't have guns that were lethal. They had guns that were shooting with his own like.
Yeah,
it was his own blood or whatever it was.
It was like synthesized from his power. Yeah.
So I wonder, would it have affected him?
Can you imagine a scenario like, let's say like the mansion gets attacked again and they have to evacuate, and that kid can't like all the mutants like fly away or they get away. Like Angel's trying to like fly off with people and he can't pick him up because it disables his power.
Question: If that kid stands next to Angel, do his wings fall off?
Yeah, we saw that with Beast. Like the hair disappeared.
Yeah, the hair disappeared.
Do Wolverine's claws fall out?
Different than like, does Wolverine just die because he has adamantium in him? Like,
but like I think it's a little different for him because like he has actual bone structure that's different. Like Beast just has the fur. Sort of, I guess.
Yeah, because does that mean he has to regrow his wings after he walks?
I don't understand. Yeah, I think he would, but I don't understand how. What are like? So how does Logan carry that giant skeleton?
He doesn't. It'd be like hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, but how does he do it?
They never really mention it. I think that's.
Does he have like the most extreme super strength known to man?
I think he does because he's got the super strength. He's got the regeneration.
But you have to remember, like, he originally was carrying bones.
Yeah.
So that is what he has, like, evolved to, is to carry that weight of his bones, not the metal. Like, he really couldn't move. He couldn't move if that was the case. He's not strong enough to do that.
Well, that was, like, the thing. Like, they said, like, his main power set are his claws, his healing factor, and his animal senses.
I love the animal senses.
And without the metal, he can kind of kill Wolverine really easily, but with the metal, he also has more weaknesses. Like he can't swim with that metal.
Yeah, he can't move. He can't move with the metal. That's what I'm saying. Like it would be impossible.
But that would
have to be a boulder of a human. Like
I guess they do kind of mention that adamantium's like adamantium's basically like vibranium, sort of, where it's like really light, but it's really dense.
They say so, but you said he can't swim.
Well, yeah, because like you can't swim with that amount of metal in your body.
Black Panther swim?
But that's nanotech. That has no weight.
It's not nanotech. Not him. That's
Also,
Stark.
nanotech still has weight. It's just small.
Yeah, but like that amount, like they like the amount of vibranium that fits in like the little teeth is not anywhere comparable to bones being covered in adamantium. I mean,
So he still shouldn't be able to move.
Why does he need all his bones to be adamantium?
Because it makes him cooler because he can get shot in the head and like it just ricochets.
Well, their goal was to make him indestructible. Like if you could have your leg blown off, it wouldn't really suit the purpose.
But he could heal.
Yeah, but not that fast.
How does he heal if you cut off a limb?
He heals pretty damn fast.
Yeah, but how does he heal? Because
I think if you just connected the ttissue back, wouldn't he like reconnect? Wouldn't he?
But what if you don't connect it immediately and the limb heals on one end and on the other end? So now you have.
I wonder how does he get blood flow to his bones? Like how does the bone marrow?
I'm guessing it has to do with
skeleton?
blood flow. Like I'm guessing that the tissue needs blood flow to like regrow. And so once he like the leg doesn't have blood flow, it dies.
Could you imagine if you cut off an arm and the arm just regrows another Logan and Logan regrows his arm? So
they've done that before.
He can multiply.
Did that in the comics.
Yeah, that sounds like something they would have done after they ran out of a couple ideas.
There's like 75 of them.
So anyway, my idea was
the ship of Theseus, but a person.
The professor needs to find another headmaster.
Okay.
And I think like Scott would have been his right-hand man to like build a new team. But when Logan shows up, he gets all fucky and like weird and like the whole love triangle. And he's not really a leader anymore. He's like, I know that's not how he is in the comics, but he needs some type of characterization. Right now, he's just literally like the guy that he got cucked, basically. Like, and he's just there. Like he doesn't even really
just torpedoed his grand designs day one.
He doesn't even really like do anything about the Jean Grey situation in Logan. He's just there. Like, by the way, this guy exists. And then she chooses him for reasons where like, well, he's not Logan, I guess. That's why she chooses Scott. Like, we don't really understand why she even likes Scott. So I would say like Scott gets really weird and doesn't want Logan around. And at the same time, I think the whole Dark Phoenix thing would have been better off in X2. Not the way that they did it, but with the idea of her, like her powers being out of control and Scott's not really understanding, like she's not a normal person. The professor's trying to explain it to her, like she's got problems right now. This is not the time.
She's a freak among freaks.
Yeah. And then she ends up having to sacrifice herself to like save the crew with her Phoenix Force or whatever. So she dies. And I think that should be the end of her. And so Scott is like, okay, so what do I do now? He's probably a broken guy, which would prompt the professor to pick Storm as the new headmaster instead. And then this would be at the end of the second movie. And like, so she goes away and you can bring her back for like the big battle. Like the teams are all coming together and, you know, maybe move this forward a few years. But what you don't need is like, you just like Storm does nothing basically for 3 movies. And then she's like suddenly the new like headmaster. But like you could have sent her away. You could have even maybe sent some of the kids that you weren't planning on using to go over there and be teachers. Like some of them, because if you moved it up a few years, Rogue could be a teacher, you know, and not all of them would have been teachers. Like they would have gone on and done other things and showed that actually the professor was doing something meaningful. The way that Hank became a politician, like they could be in college, they could be, I don't know, working like important jobs or something. That would be the idea. Or maybe they want to actually become teachers and they could teach at the school. If like, it's a nice thing. Like he's building a community. It didn't exist before. It's not like generations of like just humans going to college or whatever and doing jobs. This is like a new thing. Like this really helped me being at this school. I'm going to stay here and be a teacher for the next generation and help them. Like isn't that what they're doing? Except we never see that. We never see any of that.
Well, I think the problem is that the expectation is that that's the most boring part. Yeah, and I know you're going to say, no, that's the most interesting part. And I don't disagree with you. But when you're writing the movie, the person you want to get in the seat is not the person who's thinking about grand designs and, you know, what is the future and how does this all fit together? It's the person who's saying, I want to see Wolverine cut someone's dick off.
And that's exactly where these movies went wrong, is because as we go through it, it became more and more about the mutation and less about the person. And like, that's just very superficial. That's basically what you're seeing in Disney Plus shows, where it's like Falcon's flying in a new suit. And what about his character? Oh, like that's,
we forgot about that.
He's literally going to be like where he was at the end of Endgame at the end of the show. So 6 hours of story later, and he's like, I think I'm going to be Captain America. It's like, you forgot to do anything. Like, you forgot that part. It was just bullshit action sequences. And I
kind of thought that X1 sort of did that really well in like the snippets with Kelly, because like he starts off as like
Kelly?
The senator that hates mutants. Senator Kelly. He starts off hating mutants, and then he gets that mutant affliction like forced on him, and he kind of gets that realization.
Yeah, and that's the idea of like, where do they fit into this world? Like, what are they trying to do? How do they coexist? That's the dilemma. You look at Angel in like Apocalypse, and he's literally just like, I don't know, some cage fighter. Mm-hmm. And he just has the wings, and then it's all about his powers at that point. He's like nothing to him, I think. I don't really remember.
You don't know anything about him other than he drinks booze and fights in rings, and that's it.
And like, we see Psylocke. I mean, even in this one, she had nothing, but like Psylocke shows up, like, where the fuck did she come from? Who is that person? What's her deal? Where does she fit into the world? It's all about power sets. The same thing with like Star Wars. Oh, this guy is a bounty hunter or some shit. And it's like, all he does is just kill characters that they created for him to kill. He doesn't really actually do anything character-wise, because then there would be an end to him. But since there's never an end, it just keeps going with the same one note, like, I'm going to shoot things, or lightsaber duels where no one dies. It's like, so what does that mean to the Jedi that he like got into a lightsaber fight and didn't win? What does that mean? Where is his place in the world then? No, we don't care about any of that. It was just cool because it went, and that was it.
Are we alluding to Kenobi at some point?
I'm alluding to all of it, every last fucking thing of it. Anyway, I gotta ask you a question. Is Mystique naked when she's blue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, is her vagina hanging out?
I don't think she has one.
I think when she shifts, she has one, but
what does that mean?
She's asexual when she's blue. She's naked with no genitalia.
But so she gets turned into a woman.
Yeah.
But she does have genitalia. I mean, not genitalia, but she has sex organs. She has breasts.
Yeah, but they're not but they're like covered.
No nipples or anything.
Yeah, they're covered. Like, she's lacking specifics.
So she is female. She's just
she has a female physique. She doesn't have the genitalia to go with it.
Yeah, because she can become a man. Then she has the genitalia of a man. It's just in her base form.
She can shapeshift.
I know, but in her base form, she's basically like she's a female, but she's like a Barbie doll female.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
Okay, Kelsey Grammer's Beast is maybe my favorite. I think I like him more than Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Like, I love Kelsey Grammer's Beast. That's perfect.
I also like Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
At one point, there was talk of a action figure being made, and it never happened, probably because of all the hair. But
they made one of what's his face from First Class.
McCoy, Hank.
Yeah, the younger version.
Yeah, that's okay. That one can stay in the box. If I could go back and bring back one fan casting, it would not be Hugh Jackman. I would get a new Wolverine, but I would put Kelsey Grammer like de-aged into Beast. That was perfect. So then we have this giant black guy named Bolivar Trask.
That's the same person that
Peter Dinklage plays.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Quite the other direction they went with that one.
Maybe he was adopted.
I don't know. It's still connected, Everett.
Bolivar Trask Jr.
He undergoes racial reassignment.
So then they show that one student in school when Xavier's teaching, and she's like doing this, and like ink is just appearing. What the fuck is that?
I feel like a lot of these powers are just people coming up with, hey, wouldn't this be cool, or wouldn't this look cool on camera?
Magic at this point.
So
it might as well be Hogwarts.
If she was using the pencil to write without touching it, I think it's like, okay, it's telepathy. But
that would make her like an Omega level mutant.
To be quite honest with you, even like telepathy and like telekinesis, those are pretty far-fetched for a mutation.
Yeah, they are.
To be honest, the only mutation that I see in this that I'm like, okay, that's a mutation, is really Wolverine's regeneration. I'm like, yeah, I can imagine you've got some weird fucking regen. You just heal super quick.
Well, yeah, like because a mutation basically has to be like a physical characteristic, right?
But let's go through this. Lasers from your eyes? I don't think so. Okay. Controlling the weather? No.
I'll give the lasers a pass. The weather, the weather's trash. That's bullshit.
Fucking Dark Phoenix, like you can dissolve the world? No.
She doesn't even make
Controlling
sense.
metal?
Okay, I mean, I would say like you're talking about Colossus?
No,
or you're talking about Magneto?
Magneto.
I don't know.
This is what I'm saying. A lot of the mutations, I think
Nightcrawler's kind of split down the middle. Like the teleportation's not like a mutation. That's like magic. But his physical characteristics, I'd say, would be a mutation.
But doesn't he teleport into hell when he teleports in the comics?
Does he? I don't know.
I think that's how it works. When he teleports, he goes to hell to move around. And that's a mutation. So he mutated to be able to go to hell?
I mean, technically, he's also Mystique's son, and they never mention that either.
Because she doesn't have genitalia. But no, yeah, too many of the mutations are just, I honestly think that.
What about Kitty Pryde? I'm okay with her.
Walking through, like rearranging your molecules to be able to walk through shit.
Yeah.
Okay, Iceman, he can make ice.
He can change his body's temperature.
I kind of believe Pyro's better than him.
Even Pyro's a little like...
Pyro, actually, there's a part where Pyro, like in the last movie, he says he can only manipulate it, not create it. And then in this movie, he's like,
he has a little.
Well, he has like the little spark thing.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah, there's a little flamethrower thing that can like come out. But okay, Angels is a believable mutation. Yeah. Like I believe you could have a mutation so you have fucking wings.
Yeah.
The Spike guy, I also think that's a believable mutation.
Porcupine.
As stupid as it is, that totally makes sense.
Okay, well, what about what's her face? The girl who can detect mutant power levels.
So that was weird. She's the Flash, but she can also detect their power. And then
those ghetto hoes in this movie.
I understand they needed to introduce her to allow the audience to understand like power levels and all that stuff. But when she comes in, she's like, I can sense that he's a class 5 mutant or whatever. What the fuck? How does she understand
what is that a mutation?
Yeah, she's got a mutation where when she sees people, it says like a number above them.
It's like her own little fan fiction. Like, this is what I call them.
Sense the power, but it's like, what mutation is that?
And what constitutes a class 5 for her? When she says a class 4 and a class 5, what is the difference functionally?
I don't know. It's the same thing. Like they use like Omega and Alpha. In
also,
comics.
You know who else would be a mutant if they were in this movie? Bigfoot. Bigfoot would be a fucking mutant, dude.
Oh, you mean Sabretooth, who's basically Bigfoot?
No, Bigfoot. I gifted you the game, by the way.
Bigfoot. Oh, okay. Her name is Callisto.
The Fast Runner?
Wonder, is this the woman that was in The Sopranos?
She was in The Sopranos?
I'm not yeah, she was. Yes, she was.
As what?
Well, I assume you've been watching it, so you would know by now.
Can you just remind me, please?
He's AJ's girlfriend, or she's AJ's girlfriend.
Really? The one that he brings home? Okay.
That has the kid?
Wow. Okay, yeah. I guess I just didn't recognize her.
Also, in the mental health prison, the guy that Junior makes friends with is the porcupine guy. Do you remember that?
No. No, not really, I guess.
There's the guy that he is like his troublemaker friend, the like younger Asian guy that he's with. And I mean, you probably haven't watched it. I don't know.
Well, I got to the part where Junior's like kind of like in his full swing of his mental stuff. I got to the part with AJ and him and everything, but
yeah, I don't think you got there yet.
Okay.
So who is the other girl in that trio?
One of them is Psylocke.
Is that the other girl? The one who uses...
I don't know.
Sure? Because at one point, Magneto... First of all, we never see her power. And then Magneto just turns to her and goes, use your blast to destroy the...
Arc light? She's got like shock waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the third one. The third one is Psylocke, who never does anything. Arclight is the one who does something but never speaks. And Callisto is the one that actually speaks and does things.
I'm telling you, dude, I know that the mutants have to be mutants, but I would love to see a lot of them just be retooled as different types of heroes, because it's not a mutation. And we haven't even gotten to the dumbest ones yet. I know for a fact it gets fucking more stupid. But a lot of the guys, like, okay, the dude who can make copies of himself, that's borderline.
Multiple men.
I don't know about that. Like, that's not a mutation.
He's in one of those hospital shows. He looks he's in Grey's Anatomy.
What about Juggernaut?
Juggernaut, I can buy as a mutation. Like, he's just super fucking strong.
Yeah, it's physical, whatever.
Okay, the guy who can make multiple copies of himself, no. Mystique, totally buy it as a mutation. Totally buy it. A lot of the people Wolverine fights in this, I buy as mutations. You can regrow yourself. You have healing. Totally tracks.
What about the guy that can
Toad mutation?
The guy that can like form those like spikes out of his wrists?
Yeah, I buy that as a mutation.
Physical stuff you can sort of bend your mind to, but
but when you're doing something,
I'm okay if you're saying like Professor X is a class 5 or an Omega, and they're incredibly rare and they do things that are not physical. And you're like, okay,
the problem is there's like a million of these people.
Yeah, if it was just like 1 or 2 people a generation, where you're like, this is out of control, and like when Xavier finds Jean, he's like, holy shit, it's another one, and he knows the whole time, like. But he doesn't know that she's actually more unstable and more powerful than him.
Yeah.
So he thinks that he's like bringing her along as like a protege, when in reality he's actually building like a nuclear warhead.
Well, that's what it should be, because Magneto and Professor X should be these stupidly strong.
And it's and I'm not saying Jean Grey is inherently an evil character, but you basically have Obi-Wan and Anakin, where Professor X is like, holy shit, I've built a monster, and like I got
power comes great arrogance with that power.
Not that she should be evil, but she does end up becoming like just stupidly evil anyway.
Yeah. So the thing, it should be more that she has no control and that her mistakes can kill people, whereas a normal person's mistakes, like you lose control and punch a wall, hypothetically, who cares? You lose control and release a psychic shockwave that kills 2,000 people.
Which is what happened with in Logan, right?
Yeah, with him. With Professor X.
Also, like, you got to remember, like, Jean Grey's, like, one of her main problems is that her powers aren't really, like, mental. They're, like, a godly being.
Yeah, basically. But I cut that shit
because that's bullshit. Yeah.
I say that her origin should be she's a freak amongst freaks. The mutants are so powerful and so out of control to humans. She is the mutant of mutants, I think. I'd like that better.
Yeah.
Where she's so much more powerful.
It's something different, like, on a different level.
Yeah.
And so is Xavier.
Yes, but she's above him. And like, but the thing, what I don't fucking like, I don't like that it's like a spiritual god force. I don't like that it's an alien force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All those things are stupid. Also, why the fuck do the X-Men, you mentioned this, I think, on X1. Why do they go to space so fucking often? The mutants. Shouldn't they be dealing with shit on Earth? Like,
this is the thing. Like, X-Men started as like an allegorical thing. It turned into, in the 70s and 80s, like in the 90s, like sci-fi, weird shit, time travel. Okay, whatever. Then that became like there's like a big fan base in comics for that type of stuff. It inherently doesn't make for great stories, though. Like, if you're trying to tell character stories, not great.
It's also stupid because a lot of the mutants' struggles are them defining themselves in opposition to the racism and the things that are their experiences. But if you go to space, no one gives a fuck if you're a mutant. Everyone's a fucking mutant.
Yeah.
Like, there's aliens. I was gonna say,
like, wouldn't you want to like
different.
surround
Everyone's
yourself with
gods
people that are like similar to you?
Aliens, gods, magic.
So what we're basically acknowledging is that anyone who wants to do an MCU version would have to be a very expert writer, very smart, take it very slow, really build it up to like, what is the purpose of what are people trying to achieve? That's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah, because they want to pump out movie after movie as fast as they can, and they can't do a slow burn.
But it's not just that. The fans will revolt if they're not like, if Jean
if
Grey...
they're not in space fighting in the
if it's
movie.
not the Phoenix Force.
Yeah.
Like, go fuck yourself with your
And it'll be Mephisto all over again, where every time something to be like, that's the Phoenix Force, bro. It's gonna fucking do something, bro. Did you see that orange stoplight? It's the Phoenix Force, bro.
I kind of wonder. So in this movie, it wasn't really a cosmic force. Like they said, it was her power, like basically like repression. Like
which is better.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what would happen if they took that kid that like shuts down powers and stuck him next to her? Would she still have that multiple personality?
Bro, I said that at the start of the episode, you fuck.
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh. Yeah, at the end of the third it doesn't seem feasible to do it in the third act. However, we'll get to that part. What do you guys think about? I feel like the conversation of the cure is so interesting.
I agree, because it's the conversation of who are you? Do you need to be fixed? And the thing is, the allegory is not great, because, if you're going to take mutants as, like black people, for example, they're oppressed, they're treated differently, because that's Malcolm X and like people who are treated, or gay people, whatever you want to do, take any marginalized group. Okay. Like if you're gay, would you take the cure? It's like the answer is probably going to be no, because it doesn't matter.
Some people would, and would they be happy?
Well, think about it.
Right.
Like in the mutant community, there's a certain level of power privilege.
Well, that's what I was building to.
Like obviously, like you ask Storm, do you want the cure? Like someone who's basically a god and can control the weather. Obviously, she'll say no. That's horrible. Like why would I want to do that? You ask Rogue or someone who can like hurt people,
right? And that's
of course
what
they'd want the cure.
Could have really dug into,
and that's what I was building to. Where the cure thing is most interesting in the aspect of there's some people who got fucked by their mutation, but there's some people who got like set up for life.
And that's the whole movie. The whole movie should just be about that.
But my point for the most part is that if you want to take, the mutants, the view of the marginalized group, whether they're representing, black people in the 60s or gay people or LGBTQ people, whatever group, that's a little different, because it's very rare that someone being gay, like sets them up for life. Or someone being like, you see what I'm saying? It's very rare in the real world, where being part of a marginalized group that has prejudice and is being ostracized.
Yeah, it's not always like, it's rare for that. It would be like the reason you're successful.
An advantage, yeah. It's like usually you just get the downsides, and it's like,
and so that would be a cool thing to explore. Like, there's a bunch of mutants that are like, I ain't taking no fucking cure, and don't you come for me, because I'll fucking kill you. And there's a whole bunch of them that are like, holy shit, I could be free of this curse.
But I'm gonna be real. If I was Rogue, I don't like. Yes, it would suck.
There's things like I know some women who go and get tattoos, permanent eyeliner tattoos, because they because they want to have like darker eyelashes and they don't have it. So every morning they're putting on mascara, and they're like, if I could get the tattoo that just puts it on. Like, I have very long dark eyelashes. Like, women ask me if I wear mascara, but if you actually cared about that, and you had like very thin eyelashes, like, because like I prefer myself clean shaven, but I don't know. I can't imagine like being like, hey, if you take this pill, you'll never grow a beard again, and you'll never have to shave again. You'll never have to think about it ever again. And I'm like, okay, I definitely would rather be clean shaven, but to never, like, to just lose that part of myself forever, even that is a very difficult decision. Right. And I was talking to the women. I was like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, you're doing something permanent to yourself. You can never not have the tattoo over your eyelashes. And they're just like, yeah, but I do it every day. So like, it's worth it for me. And I'm just like, I can't see myself doing that. So you put that in the mutant thing where it's like Rogue can take people's powers. I mean, pretty amazing, but she can't touch anybody. She should have gone through with it. And would she have regretted it? Like, that's something I would have liked to see the movie explore. You see a lot of transgender people, all the reports, like, they're not happy with themselves. And like a physical surgery doesn't change that. There's probably a honeymoon phase, but a lot of them report like it wasn't the solution. I think that's interesting. Like, I think you could do that story in the background of like this overall war against the mutants. Like, who should live, who should exist, and who should like be extinguished.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like by that point, it's just you boil it down to people born with like things that hurt themselves or others versus people who aren't, basically.
Well, it opens up another conversation of regulation. Like you said, are you a danger to yourself or others? with your mutation. Some people are. I'm sure there's mutations where people died. Like if you had given it to them as a baby, if you had given them the cure as a baby, they would live. Instead, like they have like gills, they can't like breathe real oxygen or something, and they like fucking die right away. I mean, what would you do? What would you do?
Well,
in that case?
I don't think it's that easy because remember, I think they say your mutation manifests with puberty, so you
Yeah,
can
but
grow
not
your entire
always.
life and not know.
But not always.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
wasn't Jean Grey like killing people by accident? Didn't she kill her parents when she
when
was a child?
when she was younger, but she still manifested it at some point. She wasn't born with it.
Right, but what
I
if
would
you
assume
could?
there's special cases. Like I'm guessing Nightcrawler didn't just grow a tail. Like I'm guessing like there are some
I think,
exceptions.
yeah, I'm sure there are some cases where they were like right out of the womb, like fucked up. By the way, what about like Down syndrome and things like that? Like, what would the cure have done for stuff like
Yeah,
that?
we've already moved past this. As Predator showed us, Down syndrome is the next stage of human evolution.
No, I think that was autism.
That's
Shit.
the one
Fuck.
regulation the government helps them with is like
But
they take all the special needs kids and send them to the mutant school.
what about other mutations? Like, what if you could give the shot in the womb? Like, they could see, like, oh, there's something here.
But isn't that kind of what one of the subplots in Logan, that they introduced gene therapy to like food and drinks beforehand?
But it was
weed
to
out
get rid of them.
mutations?
Yeah, it was to get rid of
Yeah.
them.
I mean, but that's the same
Yeah,
thing.
that was
over
more
time.
like covert. Like, this would be like a technological advancement to give people options and to help them. I just think it's a very interesting conversation. I think it's a good conversation for the third movie, like the finale. I think this is the right thing. Up until this point, I think the movie's still pretty damn good. And then it's like the very next scene after the discovery of the cure that like Scott goes crying to the lake and Jean is just there.
She just resurrects.
And
Yeah.
everything about her is just like shouldn't be in
It's
this movie.
whiplash.
You know what I just thought of? So you know how our issue with Cyclops is that he basically has like no character and no arc in these movies? Like he's not really a leader. Can you imagine like the first two movies you set him up to be like a really hardcore leader and then like by this third movie your conflict with him would be well he's the leader of the X-Men, he goes and gets the cure to heal his eyes. Like
Why would he
imagine
do
like
that?
would you want to walk around with laser eyes that don't turn off?
I think at his point as like the leader of the X-Men and like,
He's decided.
But that's the conflict. Like, what do you do when the leader of the X-Men goes and gets rid of his mutation?
yeah, see what I was thinking is like when he falls apart with the whole Jean death and Logan thing, he leaves at the end of the second movie. I would say that he returns to help organize them in the third one for the like final battle. And so the movie ends either with him dead or with him like becoming the leader he was supposed to be. I don't really see him as the type of person who would be like, oh, should I get the cure? Like, I think for some people it's an easy decision, and for others it's not. And I would like to see them split like Civil War style on what they would rather do. I think there's a lot of meat there to chew on. Problem is, so much of the screen time is burned on Jean. And,
I agree.
And like, why? Like, he's like, well, how are you alive? And she's like, well, I don't know. And then Xavier sees her, I assume, or sees her kill Scott or something. And he's like, you got to get to the lake. And he doesn't tell him anything. And then they just find her. And he's still not like, what did he see? What did he sense?
Honestly, realistically, he should have killed her the minute he got her.
Then
sometimes it's kinder just to put him down.
Then you get that scene, which is back to where the movie should have been, of Angel, like under pressure from his father to get the cure. And you see like how beautiful he is with the wings. Like, yeah, would you really get rid of that?
Like in some parts of the world, he'd probably be considered like the Messiah or like the chosen one of God and stuff like that. Like, why would you want to get rid of that?
And so seeing that play out, like, okay, so we know what side he's on. He goes to the I'm going to keep my powers side of the battle. So it should be really a mutant civil war where one side is backed up by the government. Like we want to, these people shouldn't have a choice of saving themselves. But that's where it gets tricky because you have Magneto side, which is like, fuck them, they can't stop us, which they can. So like he would die probably. Then there's the like Xavier side, which is, hey, we can coexist, like let people decide for themselves essentially. And then there's the government who I assume would be playing Xavier and in reality trying to do what Magneto was saying, which is kill them all. So I feel like the mutants would have to team up at one point against the government, which would splinter everything. And I mean, so you could have had a real like 5-movie, 6-movie thing of like, what is the mutant status quo? The ending here, and I don't want to skip too far ahead as we go through it, but the ending really doesn't make sense. But anyway, Raven sacrifices herself, and it's pretty cold how Magneto just
It's like, oh, you're a human now. See you.
Yeah. And it got me thinking, like, what if there was another side to this? And I know that this already exists on some level, but what if they were basically like Nazis, like Nazi mutants? Which is to say, like, there are certain mutants that are superior and there are certain mutants that are inferior. And we consider them to be not worthy of like existence. You can't be.
Didn't they sort of do that in
us.
First Class with Shaw?
It hasn't happened yet. Like, I don't know. But we're talking about in this series, these 3.
Oh.
In this movie, if Magneto's like, okay, we got like Omegas, I mean, I don't know what's under Omega. Isn't there just like beginning, middle, and end with those?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
It's like just Alpha, Beta, and Omega, right?
I think Alpha is below Omega.
Well, in this movie, they say class. They say up to class 5.
Yeah, they use the class system.
Yeah, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So basically, anything below a class 3, they're like, get out of here. Like, we don't want you. Basically, like, you're not helping the cause. We want a strong like bloodline. We want pure like strong genetics. We don't want like the guy who I don't know who shits water instead of poop. Like we don't need you. You get the fuck out. Like he has
dude.
Constant diarrhea. Like everything he eats is just pure diarrhea. And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to take the cure or we're gonna kill you. I mean, they should just be executing those people, honestly. Can't you see Magneto doing that?
Yeah.
But he's from the Holocaust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you would have to give him some real characterization to like, how does he become the monster he was like fighting against? It could be interesting. I want only the most powerful. It's like, don't you see you're exactly what Hitler was? Like, and you know, at some point he's got to come to terms with that. Like Xavier has to help him come to terms with that.
Wasn't there a line in this movie like he shows up to that group of mutants in that church and what's her face? She's like, where's your mark? Yeah, where's your mark? He shows off his numbers.
That was weird too, because most mutants don't have a mark, do they? Is that
they don't? That's what made me think. Like, what if there was a faction that was all about like genetic superiority? Because that's what Magneto basically says.
That's basically what Mr. Sinister and Essex do in the comics. They're all about like genetic perfection.
Well, anyway, but I'm talking about in terms of a faction of this war. Like there should be like the superior mutant community.
Right.
They look down on the others, you know? In this case, it's just mutants and non-mutants. But even like Magneto acknowledges Xavier's crew, he doesn't consider them inferior. He's just like, they're not on my side. But like, what if you did have that sort of separation? Like, I don't want anyone that's not good enough. And I guess you could make the Xavier the other end, because we talked about like him picking for the school. But on the other end, he's like, I'll take them all. And like they all deserve it. And that could be more of a difference between them. But anyway, I thought when he left Raven for not being a mutant, I was like, this is interesting. Like she was like a very useful mutant and now she's not anything. So like he must have a hierarchy in his head of who he wants. And also everybody he looks at is like, oh, how could this guy be useful to me? So how does he treat mutants? We never see that. How does he treat mutants that are not useful? Like, what does he do with the diarrhea guy?
I mean,
does he leave him there?
He sort of did that at the end. Remember when he sends the forces forward? That's why the pawns go first.
Right. And so I would have liked to have seen him. Maybe that could have been like a thread where he's like super inclusive, and it turns out, I mean, he's evil. He's a bad guy. He knew he wanted to send him into
cannon fodder. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, we need cannon fodder. And like they could have been arguing with him, like, why are you bringing around this diarrhea guy? He fucking sucks. Diarrhea guy's like, I get to go to the war.
Jesus. His mutant name is Shitstorm.
So then they go to Jean's house, Magneto and all them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it really feels like they're acting like their relationship with Jean and Magneto and Professor is all equal, when in reality, Professor should have a much closer relationship with Jean.
Yeah. Far, far better.
But she seems completely out of her mind. Like Magneto is like, he doesn't trust you, he doesn't love you, or whatever. And it's like, why would she listen to him?
I think they're both trying to appeal to a different personality. Charles is trying to appeal to her original sense. Magneto is trying to manipulate the Phoenix version of her.
But Charles should have a major advantage. Like,
'Cause there's
she
history,
knows
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And she knows Magneto is like the opposite.
And
But
also, Magneto,
she's not in control. Like the
you
Phoenix
could
is in
argue
control.
that Magneto is.
Everett, in this movie, it's not the Phoenix.
Yeah, but it's still an alternate personality. Like,
Is it?
it's not the cosmic force you guys are used to. It's like it's her own power, but it's an alternate personality. Remember, they basically say that because her powers got what's the
Because
word?
her powers were empowered by the power.
Because it was all like
That's
pushed
actually
down.
what it is.
It was all pushed
Yeah,
down.
she's suppressing it. It's not an
suppressed
alternate
it.
personality.
But that's what it evolved into.
It's just that's why it doesn't work, because it's just her being like, she doesn't even say I want power. It's just them being like, he's trying to limit your power, and she's
and
like,
also,
I'm not myself anymore. Like
the other side of this too is when Magneto is like basically being like, "Yo, he a dick."
Yeah, he's like, he wants to give you the cure.
Yeah. Magneto acts
Based on
like
what?
surprised when she kills Xavier, but it's like you are literally setting it up
And why would she kill
Right now.
Xavier?
because he's trying to stop her. I assume he was in.
What
her
is he
mind.
trying to stop her? Like what? So he's trying to like hold her back? Like based on
I mean,
what?
I assume he was in her mind. I assume he was in her mind, like literally, like trying to shut her down.
But he was probably trying to reach her like, hey, you're out of control. But at what point, like, what is her end game? And this is why, like, when you get to that third act, it really falls apart, because what is she even doing there?
She doesn't have an end game. She doesn't have a plot. She's just evil.
That's really stupid.
I think she's out of control, which is different than evil, though.
So what is she doing in the third act?
She's
To
just
be
there.
quite honest with you, I think she has no goals.
She does nothing.
She's just there because Magneto's like, hey, let's go over here. And she's there because she needs to lose control at the last second so Wolverine can kill her.
She has no stake in, exactly. Like, what if he had to kill her in the second movie? She has no stake in the battle. She doesn't care. She's basically like 10 times stronger than any like physical being that ever existed. She could wipe them all out in a second if she wanted to, I assume. She has no stake in the battle, yet she's marching on the bridge with Magneto.
I think turning her evil could work. You just need proper development for it. Like in my mind,
become unhinged the way that Scarlet Witch was. They're
in
the
my
same
mi-
character.
in my mind, I'm thinking like imagine like the second movie she sacrifices herself and dies, but like get rid of the Phoenix Force, get rid of the alternate personality shit. Just have her have her unleash her full power and survive, but have that experience basically hit her with like a massive amount of PTSD, have her like fracture basically. And then she survives and goes back to the mansion as like normal Jean, but her powers are getting more and more unstable with this like amount of trauma she's done. And then think about like who Jean Grey is, like these movies you've seen. Like she was advocating for mutant stability and inclusion, all these things, and she was like always on the positive side. Now, as she's starting to get more and more unhinged and more powerful, you see people being fearful and being more violent towards her, and that sort of shifts her like viewpoint. Like, maybe these people don't want peace. Maybe I have to defend myself, and that maybe lets Magneto sway her a little bit easier, like something like that.
I think that her power is just unstable, and you need something big. She has to use her power in a big way, and it kills her. Like, I think that's what it is. Is like she was always destined to burn out. She was not meant like for longevity. And Professor starts to realize this when he sees how much powerful she is. It's unsustainable. So he tries to hold her back and suppress her so that she doesn't like burn out.
Are you saying the Professor is like would be saving her for like the apocalypse moment?
No, he's trying to like
the
limit her. No, he's not saving her
die.
for a weapon. He's trying to save her for her life.
Like it's a curse upon her. If she continues to like get stronger, he starts to realize she's going to kill herself using her own power. Like it's going to burn out on her. She will
Mm.
die. And that is what her death should be. Just like her just being like, I can't control this anymore. I don't know, but like here's the problem. I got to save my friends. I'm going to sacrifice myself. That's as much as she could ever be. You take someone like Scarlet Witch, who is a little bit more like on the freaky side, and she could do the whole unhinged thing. You could do it with Jean Grey too, but I think you have to, like, the powers are so similar. You have to differentiate them in some way. I like the idea of the Phoenix being like something that burns out. And could she come back? I guess if you really wanted to in comics, because it's a Phoenix, she could come back again. But you're talking about like generationally. She can't just come back as an adult again. That doesn't make any sense.
Reincarnation is a
4
mutation.
more years.
But if she's born again somehow, like what if she? You have to figure out like where did she come from originally? Like how was she born the first time? But what if she is like functionally, something like that? What if Professor knows that and he's looking for the reincarnation, and he knew that and he was trying to like raise her in a way that it wouldn't happen again to save her from herself? Or like you said, what if he knew like you keep this one in the chamber for an apocalypse level threat? And that's what it's for. And like maybe Scott it becomes disillusioned with him because he basically kept her around to sacrifice. He went through all that knowing that one day he was going to use her to die. And he didn't tell anybody, including her. And, there's just a lot there that's all better than what they did.
You know what I kind of wonder? You guys remember, and this is probably not the movie I should be bringing up right now, but do you guys remember in Fantastic Beasts 1, they said the concept of an obscurus is like a magical user that has their power suppressed and it like explodes outward and becomes that
it's
like
the same idea.
Like,
it's not an original thought.
But like imagine in this, like the way Omega level mutants are created is through like advanced trauma or like certain events. So like maybe they're always on the lookout for like these like natural disasters or like big things, like where these people would be like at the center of them.
It's that's an interesting thought. Like, how do you find them? Yeah, there's a lot that's just half baked, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you told me that a writer was thinking about all of these things and was putting together an X-Men story right now, I'd be like, that's really interesting. But that's not what's going to happen. It's going to be about like the professor leading the team against Magneto, and they're going to have another like CGI.
And then there'll be a post-credit
Which-
scene where the aliens show up, and
which
they're like,
which
"We're
really
gonna take
sucks
them."
because like even in like this 45-minute conversation, like I'm thinking to myself, like, wouldn't it be cool like if you see like what you were saying earlier, like a couple years down the line, like where all these things lead to? Like imagine like a world where this war was lost and the government won and they got all their regulations for the cure, and you ended up in a world where mutants exist, but now you have regulations like how do you deal with the death penalty? Like, do you give the cure for someone who commits a crime and they're a mutant? Like, is that the punishment? Like, all these questions start popping up, like on how society is built around like these consequences. I think like that'd be really cool to like at least have a hint of, but like, it just kind of just disappears. They didn't go far enough.
So I was thinking, okay, so here's like an alternative version based on the movie. When Xavier dies, it basically would give Magneto license to start the war he always wanted, which is what he does. But I was like, let's explore, let's fuck all the Jean Grey shit, cut out all that. Let's make this like earlier in the movie. Let's watch Magneto actually go to war against humanity, and the mutants rise up. The problem is he loses, I think.
For sure.
I think they kill them all.
Well, they don't kill them all. Jean Grey like basically annihilates everybody. But taking her out of it,
we're talking about a hypothetical alternate movie without Jean Grey. That's what you just said.
If the mutants were actually going to rise up against the humans, like annihilating the world is not winning. So how does Magneto like gain supremacy against guns? Like there's so many mutants that can't defend themselves.
And also
guns.
like Magneto, like the humans basically hard counter him with all plastic. Like he's still strong, but you're telling me that he's going to be able to like a sniper with a plastic rifle who shoots him with a cure dart? No chance.
Like that was, that's an interesting, because if there was no cure and Xavier dies, I mean, I still don't think they have a chance, but at least you could drag it out. Like he could fight. Like they probably wouldn't come at him with plastic weapons just yet. But as the war goes on, they would develop, and like that could be an interesting movie, is watching things change. Different continents like winning maybe because they have less like military infrastructure to fight back. the United States obviously would probably hit them pretty damn hard.
Yeah, are you gonna fucking use your metallic powers against the radiation? I don't think so. Like,
and it's a question of like the X-Men coming together because they're being hunted. So they joined with Magneto. Xavier's gone. I mean, this would be like a cool like fourth movie or fifth movie. I don't know. So they're all fighting, and at the end, it's like, does the government finally put an end to the mutants? Like, do they exterminate them all? Does that mean that no more will be born? Like,
I mean, you could have that lead basically into Days of Future Past. Like, to combat Magneto, they create the Sentinels.
Yeah. Like, Days of Future Past could be. Well, I would say, I guess you could have this movie where like the war begins.
I mean, they have Sentinels in this movie, like, for some reason.
I think you could do this movie where they lose the battle, and then they proceed to lose the war, but you don't necessarily see that. Then you could do another movie. I guess it would be weird, but if you did First Class and then you did Days of Future Past, that shows like how the war played out, and they're still out there. But I wonder, after Days of Future Past, would you continue with Apocalypse? Because I don't know, like, what do you do? Do you go with that older timeline or do you go with the new timeline? You don't really need Days of Future Past. As much as I like that movie, you don't need it to tell either story. You could even do like a Logan story where they're basically all in hiding and the world is not like destroyed and, like Terminator style. It's
like a new rule, basically.
And they're all in hiding and there's not many left. And yeah, like I think that would be cool.
Can I make a side note, just kind of off topic real quick?
No.
Okay, so we mentioned Psylocke earlier. I was going to mention to you guys, I really like Psylocke. Like, she's one of my favorite characters.
Why?
Like, I like her power set. Also, she's hot, but also,
oh, Jesus Christ. Those are the two worst answers you could have possibly given.
Yeah, I know, but
right? But I mean, in all seriousness, like,
I know, in all seriousness, I know, but anyway, I can never look at her the same way again because of Olivia Munn and everything you told me about what happened with John Mulaney.
Let's take a look at her here.
You basically ruined that character for me because of Olivia Munn and John Mulaney.
I mean, Olivia Munn wasn't bad in it, but I don't even think she spoke. Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, whatever.
No, I'm curious. What's your question?
What version of her is hot?
I'm talking about the Apocalypse version, the live action version.
Psylocke.
The Olivia Munn version?
Yeah, the Olivia Munn. That's why I say she's ruined now.
Okay, but when you say she's hot, like, I don't understand what's different between her and basically every other female character.
I don't know. I find her attractive. What's so wrong with that?
I'm not saying it's wrong because you're saying you find Olivia Munn attractive then.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not. It's not about Psylocke.
I said I like Psylocke's power set, and you said that was a stupid answer.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
it is because the power set is not a character.
Yeah, I thought you were saying you were
complement
attracted
a character,
to Psylocke.
She has no
purple?
character.
Is it like the really low cut?
No,
what did I?
I'm saying he just likes Olivia Munn in that.
I like Olivia Munn.
I find
Olivia. I like her. She's attractive.
You're being really fucking.
But instead of saying that, he said Psylocke is one of his favorite characters, which is why we asked why, because we're like, what about the?
And
character?
then I elaborated. I find the actress attractive, and I find her powers cool.
It's literally just Olivia Munn in the like skimpy outfit. That's what it is.
Yeah, sure. Ignore half of what I said.
Scarlet Witch is my favorite. Or Scarlet Witch, not Scarlet Witch. Fucking yeah, Scarlet Witch. Sure, Scarlet Witch is my favorite hero.
She is Scarlet Witch.
No,
she's basically Scarlet Witch.
You can
the exact same shit. Yeah, she reads. She's a telepath. She reads minds and she has those psychic glasses.
So now there's 3 of them.
All right, you know what? Forget it. Forget I said anything. Just move on.
No, you can like a character for that reason. The way you said it made us think that there was something to the character.
In the movie, there's not.
But that's
so. Do you like the movie character or the comic book character?
I like them both. I like the movie.
Which one is hot?
The movie version's hot. The comic version's too low cut.
I've heard people say that they like Psylocke. I never knew why, because my experience has only been the movies where she's like terrible all around. So
in the comics, she's like an high-ranking officer almost in the X-Men, because she's basically like Professor X, but more like low tier. She can't control minds, but she can read them.
Anybody that at this point, anybody that controls minds is out. I can't take it anymore. I can't stand one more scene of people staring at each other like this. I can't do it. I'm already sick of it, and we're only 3 movies in. There's like 6 more movies of Xavier being like, and the other person looking back at them like, I can't. During the final battle, there is a comment that says 30 minutes to ground troops arriving.
Yeah, that's just them setting up that troops are going to arrive at the end to make Jean lose her shit when she's talking to Wolverine.
But that was like, that's what made me think, like, how could they possibly, like, Magneto has to understand he can't win a war. Like, if in 30 minutes you're getting reinforcement ground troops that are shooting cures, every time they shoot somebody, you lose that soldier, they never come back. There's like, you can't win.
Yeah, but that's because the problem with the X-Men is that you get either people who are so powerful that it's Jesus, which at which point who cares, and then on the other hand, it's like they don't have the numbers on a case-by-case basis. Their top tier fighters are like they can take out 100 humans, 1,000 humans, but the average mutant is probably like, okay, I can kill 2 or 3 humans, but the average human with a gun can kill a mutant. And it's like, you have to be paying attention at all times. Like, as I talk about, the problem with these movies is the humans always are like running at them or going up to them, holding the pistol, saying like, put your hands up. And it's like, that's never going to work. In reality, what it is you just sit there with a sniper rifle 3 miles away in a fucking tower, and then you shoot the guy and they die. And it's like, it's over.
Yeah. See, this is what you're saying. Like, sometimes the mutation is like amazing. Whereas, like, I'm not like afraid of gay people. I know some people are for stupid reasons, but I'm not like, whoa, these people are like genetically superior and are a threat to like my way of life. Like, they could kill me with like flicking their wrist. Like, this is crazy. I would be afraid of them if that were the case. I'm like,
and you would probably be advocating like, we need something to like.
I want a gun in my house because Kitty Pryde could come through the walls at any moment. Like, I don't know. What if it's not Kitty Pryde? What if it's like the gangbanger down the street? Like,
you guys are making the same argument that Kelly made in the first one. Like, literally, like, what do you do?
That's the point. It makes sense. If mutants existed, would you be terrified of them if you were just a person?
If I didn't have powers myself, of course I'd be terrified.
Yeah, I'd be like, we need to kill these people or like control them.
If this was Avatar: The Last Airbender, I'd be trying to kill the Benders if I was a human. But like, this can't stand. They can't just do this. They can't just light us on fire.
Yeah, no. But the problem with a lot of these type of thoughts, and this is just a problem with like, because it's comics, they write it so it's like, dude, the humans are totally outclassed. And it's like, yeah, kind of. But the problem is that like the mutant has to be paying attention at all times on all things. And it's like, look at like Afghanistan or Ukraine. Just because you're like the stronger party doesn't mean anything, because if you're not paying attention at all times to all threats, it's like, how are you going to deal with gas? How are you going to deal with radiation? How are you going to deal with the person who shoots you that you don't even know is there 2 miles away? Like, you can't. And the thing is, when you're a mutant, like when you're Magneto, like, how do you stop a nuclear weapon or a dirty bomb? Like, and the thing is, you're a big enough threat that someone might use that on you.
Yeah.
Like a chemical weapon, like you're not going to do anything. You might not even know it's there. Like,
I mean, that's why they had like their Genosha Island.
I know, but like, think about this,
still,
right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, the X-Men have made this compound in the middle of wherever. Okay, how is Magneto going to know the water supply is fucking poisoned?
He can repel the gas by using the molecules of iron.
The water supply is poisoned. They have like some mutant that can grow fruit, I guess, is what they're doing.
Yeah, the food's poisonous. Like, there's so many ways you can take out the X-Men if they're as big of a threat as like they're.
Not to mention the X-Men that would be on the side of exterminating, just like in every other type of genocidal extermination, where some people helped exterminate their own kind.
Honestly, yeah, there would probably be X-Men, but see, it would even make more sense in this scenario where it's like, if somebody's like, hey, they're too fucking powerful and I don't like them.
It would make sense for Magneto to team up with the government to exterminate Xavier. They're like, I'll help you get rid of these, because he sees him as his rival. Once he's out of the picture, Magneto will be like, okay, now I can like actually wage war without him trying to stop me. But of course he would get crushed. Yeah. And so it would have been like a classic case of they destroyed themselves. Mm-hmm. That's probably how it would end up, but that doesn't make for like a great inspiring story. But yeah, I feel like the mutant thing, once they become like once they arrive, like once it's full blown, like, wait, there are mutants among us. They're not in hiding. It's a known thing. I think that the issue will become resolved like within 10 years. It's not going to just keep going where they're just doing whatever they want, killing people, being superior beings. Like, no, that's not going to fly. People will, like a mutant walking down the street with like cat ears, someone's going to walk up to him and shoot him in the head. Like, that's what it's going to turn into.
Mutant hate crimes?
Yeah. There is a moment where like when the X-Men arrive and they want to defend the facility, and like Logan nods to Kitty Pryde, and I don't know. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking. Like the younger kids are stepping up. Like this should be the arc of the movie. They're mentoring these people.
They had a really good moment on the plane before that battle where you like have all the young X-Men like staring out the window and thinking like, I might not come back from this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And like it, yeah, I don't know. It would be nice if they weren't always doing like I'm fighting other mutants, but if it was something like there's a real problem and we're going to help, and we're kids, but this is what we've been training for and this is what we're doing. Our teachers are with us. We're all going in like that. That should be like the first movie of an MCU story, is them just like pulling these kids together, these older kids, to do something greater than themselves. Storm beats the Callisto, the speed girl, just by punching her
and electrocuting her.
Yeah, she electrocutes her.
Yeah, I mean it's not great.
That's just full blown.
I like Kitty Pryde beating Juggernaut. Like I think that's an interesting.
It's okay. Yeah, Juggernaut's not bad. I really do like the idea of this being like the Cure being a catalyst for like a Civil War II in the MCU. Like, where do you stand on like the mutant extermination policy? All mutants need to be cured. Like, what if that was like the mandate? You all have to be cured. You all, like everybody. And it's like, well, why us? Why not the superheroes? It's like, well, it doesn't work on the superheroes, but it does work on the mutants. So we're going with that. Would Captain America be on the side of the government or the side of the mutants?
Well, I feel
honestly,
like
he would probably be on the side of the mutants based on his characterization.
It's easier to tell.
Stark would probably be government, though. Stark would be like, "This is fucking bad." Like,
it's an easier argument to divide when you have the Registration Act. So, like, they already have the Sokovia Accords. So, what do you do now?
They don't really even exist anymore, do they?
Yeah, they don't really exist. But the fuck they want.
Like, what happens like when the mutants show back up and they bring that up again? They're like, "Oh, the Sokovia Accords still technically exist. Let's rewrite them so that every mutant alive has to now register." Like, what do you do now? Like, now it's a privacy act. Now it's like every superhero being has to register their name. Like, would Captain America? Probably, maybe, if it's about like safety.
Well, yeah, I'm saying like, so what if the end of this movie is in the MCU? There is a battle. The mutants are fighting each other on this island. The government, a lot of people died. It's over the cure. Now the battle's over. The mutants have lost. Many of them are like fugitives. They're out on the run. The government says we can't allow this to continue. Any mutant that's like standing up against the cure, that's fighting the cure, must be caught, must be thrown in prison, must be cured. Where does Captain America stand? Where does Spider-Man stand?
I think both of those fucks end up standing as pro mutants. I think you get Captain
Probably.
Marvel, you get Stark, War Machine as being pro government,
and a lot of the villains would probably be pro mutants.
Yeah.
You'd also probably have to ask the question, like, what constitutes a mutant? Like, what's the difference really between Spider-Man and Wolverine? They both have powers.
Well, they have the X gene,
but they originated differently. Spider-Man doesn't have an X gene. He just got bit by a radioactive spider.
Right, so he doesn't count.
Yeah, but like, do they lump them all in or?
No, because the cure doesn't work on Spider-Man.
What we talked about before, where the mutants have like a passive disease that they're spreading, like a passive plague or something. Mm-hmm. Not that it's like just decimating humanity, because obviously then you got to kill the mutant. But if it's like something like they're causing cancer to like people around maybe, and they don't realize it right away, but like people are starting to get sick, like small percentage, maybe 5-10%. And so that would be the reason why it's like, well, we like Spider-Man, but fuck you, because like, something's wrong with you.
Yeah, and I think like, I don't know. The problem with this type of thing is it's just not going to happen. I also think they're going to fuck up
I think there will be a Civil War II at some point in the MCU.
Yeah, but I think it probably won't be that good, because they're going to end up retreading. Like, the problem with Civil War, not Civil War, but like the concept of it is that you have to have a compelling reason that both sides are fighting for what they're fighting for. And from what I understand in the comics, Stark goes like full evil very quickly. Like,
well, the premise was
villains.
good, but that's usually, that's how comics are. They never like, the premise just sucks. I mean, the premise is good, but the execution is just
awful.
bad.
Yeah. And so I'm guessing Civil War 2 is going to be like, they just start fighting over something stupid. They take like weird.
I forgot I read it. It wasn't that bad. When a new Inhuman named Ulysses emerges with the ability to predict the future. And that's where Captain Marvel and Iron Man come to blows. I forget what exactly. He let's see. Ulysses Kane, a student at Ohio State University, is exposed to the Terrigen Mist, which turns him into an Inhuman. When he emerges, Ulysses has a vision of a dystopian future. Weeks later, the Inhumans help the Avengers defeat an invading celestial destroyer. After Ulysses reveals to the Avengers that he foresaw the invasion, Iron Man protests the logic of stopping crimes before they occur and leaves in frustration. So basically, Minority Report. 3 weeks later, War Machine is killed and She-Hulk is mortally wounded in battle with Thanos. When he learns that they used Ulysses' precognitive power to ambush Thanos, Iron Man vows to make sure that nobody uses it again. As She-Hulk goes into cardiac arrest, she tells Captain Marvel to fight for the future. Iron Man kidnaps Ulysses from New Adelan, home of the Inhumans. In response, the Inhumans attack Stark Tower but are halted by the Avengers. To avoid further incident, they agree to confront Iron Man together at the secret facility where he has been running tests on Ulysses. During the confrontation, Ulysses has a vision of Hulk killing the Avengers. Later, Bruce Banner, Hulk's former alter ego, is approached by Captain Marvel at his laboratory outside Utah. Captain Marvel asks Banner to step outside where the Avengers are waiting to confront him. During the confrontation, Hawker shoots Banner dead and is immediately arrested. At Hawkeye's trial, Hawkeye testifies that Banner approached him months earlier and asked that he kill him should Banner ever lose control. After Hawkeye is acquitted of all charges, Iron Man informs the other heroes of his test results. Ulysses' power is based on probability calculations, not absolute truth. I mean, I don't know how that is even, how is that a power? Unpersuaded, Captain Marvel returns to the Triskelion to continue her investigation of a suspected Hydra agent. There, Captain Marvel, the Ultimates, Alpha Flight, and Storm's X-Men are confronted by Iron Man, Avengers, Magneto's X-Men. Outnumbered, Captain Marvel calls in the Guardians of the Galaxy as backup. As Iron Man's team is about to attack, as the battle escalates, the Inhumans arrive to aid Captain Marvel, while Ulysses has a vision of Miles Morales killing Steve Rogers. In reaction, Captain Marvel places Morales under arrest. Iron Man and Captain Marvel argue about the merits of arresting him. Rogers gives Morales the opportunity to decide for himself, and Morales asks to go home. As Morales leaves, Maria Hill places Iron Man's team under arrest, but Doctor Strange teleports them to one of Nick Fury's safe houses. At the safe house, the younger Avengers sneak off to find Morales before the adults. Meanwhile, Hill receives communication that Morales is at the United States Capitol, the location seen in Ulysses' vision. Ulysses has a vision of himself in the wasteland of an unknown future and meeting an older Wolverine. Wolverine tells Ulysses that the Inhumans have left the planet because Iron Man pushed her too far. When the vision is over, Ulysses warns Medusa, Queen of the Inhumans, about what he saw. Meanwhile, Rogers approaches Morales at the Capitol to gain some understanding about Ulysses' vision. As Captain Marvel arrives to take Morales into custody, Iron Man intercepts and attacks Captain Marvel. Medusa warns the other heroes of Ulysses' vision, and they try in vain to stop the fight. After Captain Marvel delivers a seemingly fatal blow to Iron Man, Ulysses has multiple visions of possible futures. Ulysses is then approached by Eternity and takes a place at his side as a new cosmic entity. Oh, God. See, they always fuck it up. Later, Captain Marvel meets with the President of the United States and is offered unlimited resources to lead the superhero community into the future. See, there's not even an ending. What about the Captain America thing? So he doesn't die from
Iron Man
Morales?
just gets defeated and see, the whole thing is stupid. I'm gonna be quite honest.
But that is an interesting the mutant thing could be an interesting fight. Anyway, we see Iceman beat Pyro. Since when does ice beat fire?
I don't know. If you ever tried to set a fire in a blizzard
at one point.
You ever tried to set a fire in a blizzard?
So they take Magneto's power away.
Yeah, but
what do you guys think about the fact that it comes back?
So maybe the cure fucking sucks. Maybe everyone gets it back in like 6 months.
I mean, I like the idea that it's like temporary. So if you were exposed to the kid for 6 months straight, you would gain immunity. And I like that idea is like you could have this whole thing about the cure and only to realize later
it's not the
it
definitive.
didn't quite do it. And then you could bring it back. I mean, that's people live for that shit because then you could just bring all the characters back whenever you want.
You take the cure and then 6 months later your powers come back only more powerful.
It doesn't have to be 6 months. It could be whatever, like 5 years, like different people have different, strength.
Dude, you take the cure and then you resurrect after you get killed.
Like maybe the level
It's
4
an extra
and
life.
5 mutants gain their powers back faster. They build the immunity fast, and some never, maybe some are cured permanently, or we don't know because it still hasn't come back and we don't know how long it'll take. So yeah, at this point I wrote, what does Jean even want? She sat out the entire battle and then she just starts like, I don't know, trying to destroy the world and Wolverine just kills her. This is just, she shouldn't be here.
No, I agree. It was just stupid. I didn't
also,
like it.
Can she not destroy adamantium?
I guess not.
Like, who cares? Like, for some reason, the script wants her dead at this point. And it's like, why? I don't know why she was even there. Then afterwards, humanity, because the X-Men helped, like, protect the cure, humanity thanks the mutants. This is the ending. They thank the mutants and decide that because the X-Men helped, that they no longer need to, like, use the cure.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some real, like, dumb writing.
Yeah, it's absolutely awful. I hated it.
That whole incident is exactly why the government would be like, all right, everybody has, like, everyone in their house get a fucking cure gun.
Yeah, even if you're not a mutant, everybody gets a cure.
Just shoot everyone. Everyone's getting shot. Doesn't matter what. We don't care what happens. Everybody's getting shot right now. And, like, there's no way that they would be like, oh, put down our weapons. Because the X-Men saved the day.
It's not happening.
Yeah. That is like a real, I was like, that's a real mindfuck. I was like, whoa. I can't believe
you can tell they were just like, okay, we're going to end it on like a quote unquote positive note.
Because otherwise, because this is what we talked about. Any way this goes, they lose.
Yeah.
This is the only way you could do like some mental backflips and win.
Yeah.
Or it's like a happy ending. It's like, this does not make any sense. Then there's that post credits where, at the very end of the movie, did you guys see it?
Where Magneto does his thing, or is there another one? No, I didn't.
The thing with Xavier.
Yeah, it's Moira McTaggart, and Xavier's like alive. His body exists somehow.
What?
Earlier in the movie, they showed off like during the lesson that he was teaching, she was on screen. Like,
no, I remember that, but I've never seen his post credits.
That's what that was setting up.
He's just like in a hospital bed, and he's like Moira or some shit like that.
His consciousness transferred into the comatose body.
Oh,
but didn't he explode?
Yeah.
So what body did he transfer into?
The comatose body.
They
set it up. It's just stupid.
But they set up that he has an extra body?
They set up in the movie, like they showed off that screen. They're like here we're examining a man who has no mental brain function, but his body works perfectly fine. Like, and then he dies, and then at the end of the movie, his brain gives the body the brain function because his
but it's not
consciousness transfers to it. No, it just happens to look exactly like him.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty stupid.
Jesus.
Maybe he got like facial reconstruction surgery.
All right, Emerson, do you have a fight of the week?
I do. The fight of the week, and you've kind of already approached this, but if you were the president of the United States and they come to you and they're like, hey, we have a cure in this universe, what do you do? Do you go like, okay,
I weaponize it for sure, for safekeeping.
So you first strike?
No, I don't immediately strike, but I absolutely weaponize it. And I wait for the incident to come. Because do
you false flag them? Do you like force the incident?
No, I wouldn't. Somebody else would, like the next president after me or something. But I wouldn't I'm not going to try to kill diarrhea guy. But when Magneto is like, all right, we're fucking killing them all. It's like, bitch, we got the cure. And we just keep it, like they wouldn't even know. Like we would try to keep it a secret. I guess Hank would probably be like, "This is an outrage," just like the way they found out about that abortion bill. Like they'd be like, "They have the cure. They're trying to weaponize it in secret facilities. The secret facilities would get attacked, I'm assuming, but we'd be ready ideally. And if we're not ready, then we'll get ready or we'll lose. Like, but I'm not stupid. Like we're not doing this."
I just imagine you on TV. I'm not stupid. We're not doing this.
You would need a more effective way of dispersal, though. Like those little darts.
Definitely a way to make it airborne.
Yeah, you make it like a gaseous form or something and drop it from a plane or something.
I would not advertise the fact like where we know that kid's location is. That kid would be in like Area 51, like locked up. You can't get to him. We're taking his blood every day. Every 6 hours, we're like taking blood from him. We're building it. Like we're finding.
Does he get to keep his 360 that he had in there?
Yeah, he can have his 360. Like we're building every version. I mean, what would that kid think? Like on some level, like I'm the Messiah. Like I'm the cure. I mean, on some level, like people would be telling him that, like you're humanity's savior.
You'd feed him as much propaganda as you could, so you could keep him on your side.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay, fair enough.
Roundup. You guys got anything?
Yeah, I did. I watched the boys' first 3 episodes. Did you
I
guys see
haven't
that?
watched it yet.
That's weird because you said that you weren't going to watch anything new until you finished Sopranos.
Well, the boys are just 3 episodes, so I thought it was pretty good.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I'd say like I'd say it's on par with the last 2 seasons, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good so far.
Okay.
I don't remember loving those, so I thought they were okay.
I haven't watched anything.
I watched Stranger Things. People are loving it. I thought it was pretty not good.
Yeah, I've heard it's far too long. Like each episode's like an hour or
it's
more.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes. And there's only like 7 episodes.
Oh, there's 7. Okay.
But it's pure, like it's so filler. And people will say it's not filler, but they don't understand what filler is. The whole season is basically, I'm just going to tell you, Hopper's alive. How he's alive, apparently, if you look it up, like, because I had to look it up, apparently the blast that like evaporated him, apparently he just like fell down onto the platform below and was taken by Russians and taken to a Russian prison. And the whole 7 episodes is him in Russia with some other Russian guys, like trying to escape their prison as the aliens fight them. That's it. That's his whole thing. So basically it's all to say the filler is that Hopper's back. Like it's all those episodes to say Hopper's back. 11 loses her powers. At the end of season 3, I don't really remember, but this is all about her like getting her powers back. Her story is more interesting, but ultimately it's like, okay, so she's back in, he's back in, the kids are back. Now let's go to the next. I guess season 4B is coming out soon.
I remember like more people complain like Millie Bobby Brown looks like way older now because they waited so long to film. She does. This.
And I will say the show does have like very high production quality. They have her de-aged like as a child and pretty good, but they're all way older. Like that kid Will, like I was like, what the fuck? He's like bigger than all of them. Like even like the older kids, he's like taller than everybody.
Jesus.
So it's okay. Like I found it to be somewhat interesting background noise. Like I was playing Spider-Man in the background most of the time. I wouldn't call it high class television. It's got some decent horror stuff, like the fun horror. It's not real horror. Same as before. They put in some like that 80s music. Whatever. Like it's not anywhere near season 1. It's probably the second best because I remember season 2 sucking and season 3 sucking. So there's that. I also watched what was it? I watched something else.
Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, let's talk Obi-Wan. Episode 3.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Well, I thought the first half was pretty meh. And then the second half with Vader, I'm like, okay, they're doing something here, but where are they going to go with this?
I didn't really like Vader. I think he shows up, then he disappears. That doesn't strike me as how Vader works, like popping in and out. Then he sets Obi-Wan on fire. It's like, oh, it's brutal. It's like, I'm sure he'll be fine because it like just burned his shoulder.
Yeah, it's like he burns him the same way he got burned, and I'm like, this is pretty gnarly. Obviously, something stupid is about to happen because he doesn't die. We know Obi-Wan doesn't burn to death, but that would be some real revenge. Like I would really like that. So then he just stops burning him.
Yeah, and then he stops burning. He forces out the fire. Then the fucking
barely burned.
He's barely burned. The fucking person shoots something to set the fire back, but now Darth Vader can't force it out. He doesn't force the robot away. He doesn't force Obi-Wan. The stormtroopers are like, I can't see what's happening. It's like, dude, I can see him right there.
It's very silly that he just gets carried out.
Yeah, and none of them do anything. Vader doesn't do anything. The stormtrooper, it's just stupid. And then Reva kidnaps Leia, which means Leia is still going to be the focus of probably the next episode or two.
I mean, how am I supposed to take the show seriously? When it shows how much, like, I got the sense of how much weaker Obi-Wan is at that point. And it's like Obi-Wan should run. And I would accept, like, Obi-Wan had a confrontation with him and ran away. But for him to actually fight and to lose and to be captured and then to somehow get away after that, it's like, okay. And now
he's going to fight Vader again.
And so now we're resetting. Like, we're just going to reset. Obi-Wan's going to go after Leia, rescue her, some bullshit hijinks.
Probably going to fight Vader again and win. I bet you.
Or win, but like escape and not actually, like, I don't know. Just basically, the show's basically over for me at this point. I don't really know what else to think about it. I guess I'll watch it maybe if I'm around. What did you think, Everette?
I'm sort of in the same boat as you guys. I mean, I liked what they did with Vader, but other than that, like, there's too many continuity changes for me to really take it seriously.
You liked how he escaped?
Well, first, if I have to give this episode props, I like the violence that they added because it's something that Star Wars has been missing since the prequels. Like you saw like a stormtrooper get cut in half, like on that laser gate. Like you see Vader, like you see Vader in his like real, like demented violent streak, just walking down the street, force choking people, kills a kid for no reason, snaps his neck with the force. He's playing cat and mouse with Obi-Wan.
Though it seems like he could do a lot more, and he chooses not to.
He's trying to draw Obi-Wan out, like just bit by bit, and it doesn't work. But then he finds him anyway, and I mean, their fight is okay. Yeah, you see how much weaker Obi-Wan is, and Vader kind of bodies him the whole time. The fire thing, him burning him, I thought was cool. The escape was stupid, but I understand why he doesn't go through the fire. Like, there's a reason for it, but it doesn't make it any less stupid.
Like, if he was on fire and that girl saved him by like extinguishing it, and then tries to get rid of him, and Obi-Wan like escapes while he kills her, I mean, that would have been a little bit better.
Here's my problem. The Vader that I know is the entire time from Revenge of the Sith up until A New Hope, when he actually sees Obi-Wan. Vader's main goal, besides killing the Jedi and assisting Sidious, is hunting down Obi-Wan. That's like his life goal. If he found him on that planet and he really wanted to torture him that badly, assuming he didn't just go for a kill shot and end that right there, he 100% would have just held him there with the Force and put the fire out. He would have found some way to let him, like, make him stay there, but it didn't happen, which is stupid. I mean, like, it's like they're butchering like the aspirations of a character that, like.
What are the chances that that's the last we see of Vader?
It's not. You're going to see him again, 100%.
Are you going to see Maul?
No, I don't think you're going to see Maul.
You're 100% going to see Vader again for sure.
You're going to see Vader again. You're going to see Anakin in his flashbacks. You're going to see Vader. One of two things is going to happen. I'll bet both is probably going to happen. They're going to do a flashback to the Clone Wars with Hayden Christensen, like, full-faced. And I'm assuming in their final fight, they're going to do what they did in Rebels, which is they're going to have Obi-Wan fight him, and he's going to hit him in the face, and it's going to slash a bit of his mask off, and you're going to see Hayden Christensen's face like halfway under the Vader mask, and you'll hear his voice. I'm assuming it's going to be something like that, because that's actually Hayden Christensen in the suit. So,
yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that good otherwise.
I just want to respond to like that the episode had a lot of brutality. It was like there was some like gore and like brutalness to it, but to me a lot of it feels like the watered down like like the fire thing. Like he burns Obi-Wan, and then
It's
like
the
after he's
gloves are on
fine.
for sure. Yeah, his
Like,
gloves are on.
It wasn't enough. Like he should have pounded his face into the dirt. It didn't happen.
Whatever. Okay.
All right. So Marvel is reportedly courting big name directors for a Fantastic Four movie. Here's the interesting thing. Basically, Kevin Feige has said that he was very happy with Sam Raimi and how he didn't have to, like, here. Kevin doesn't want to oversee the entire shoot after not having to worry about that with Sam Raimi. He is very game to the same outcome with this shoot. So they're looking for another like experienced director to do Fantastic Four. What's funny is this is basically saying, oh, if you get someone who's really good at what they do, then you don't have to micromanage every aspect of it. Now, if it was Steven Spielberg micromanaging everything, that's one thing. But Kevin Feige is not a director.
Right.
When Kevin Feige is micromanaging the directors because they're incompetent, what you're ending up with is a lot of shitty movies. And I think that really explains it all. This is why every bad movie, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, maybe even Eternals to an extent. Like I thought Eternals was the better of them. They all have like really amateur work. And it's not just like cinematography. I'm talking the writing is really bad. The ideas are really bad. If Kevin Feige is micromanaging all of those that are being made around the same time, Ant-Man and the Wasp, like where it's just like you're just missing the mark.
So you're saying he's the one that's causing like all the mediocre stuff to pop out?
No, I'm saying he's trying to micromanage all the mediocrity, and he obviously can't. And even if he could, he's not the talent. He's not Sam Raimi. He's not Steven Spielberg or James Cameron or Ron Howard who could like pull it together themselves. He doesn't know that much about that. He's on the administrative side. He's not on the creative side. So
yeah, it's
not a good system. So it's like, duh, it's not a good system. Stop hiring these morons. Like you don't have the filter. You can't like Sam Raimi came up with a good thing for like Sam Raimi was like, okay, fuck WandaVision. There's no way that we can have this story with Wanda just like Wanda has to be bad from the beginning. Like we have to tell a clear story. This is her stance. This is the movie. This is where it goes. That takes experience. That takes good writing. And then meanwhile, you have Shang-Chi where it's like his dad was like 1,000 years old and now he's looking for his one son that he only ever had. And Shang-Chi's like, I don't know. I want to be a valet or maybe I want to be a superhero. Like it's like fucking stupid. Like, and you need somebody to come in and be like, don't. But Kevin Feige can't do that for all the projects that are happening all at once. I mean, the movies I listed, we didn't even talk about all the shows that are happening. And he can't micromanage all of this shit. So he's basically learning like a basic rule of movie making, which is, yeah, you need to find someone who knows what they're doing. And I'm not saying all these new people shouldn't be given opportunities, but somebody's got to vet them. Like somebody that knows what they're doing has got to vet them. So he's looking at Fantastic Four and he's like, yeah, I want someone who knows what they're doing, which is, it's like, seems like a revelation. The way the article says it is like, oh, he's come to a new understanding. No, this is not groundbreaking. This is why people have like big careers because studios trust them to put good movies out.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was probably the biggest news. Let's see. We had a Pinocchio trailer. Did you guys see this?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I saw it.
They barely showed Pinocchio in it.
But
Tom
Father,
Hanks,
when can I live on my own?
Tom Hanks doing another terrible accent.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So he's doing this. He's doing Elvis. I think there was a third movie. But yeah.
Dude, something like specifically about this, like Twitter becomes a cesspool when stuff like this comes out. The amount of tweets I saw complaining about the fact that the fairy godmother is black is like off the charts. People like are nuts.
I think we do have some other like Obi-Wan related racism.
Yeah, there's stuff about her too.
Review bombing. I mean, she's not that bad.
The
show is not good.
I'm much more disappointed with the show and like what they're doing with Vader and Obi-Wan. She's fine because it's like, all right, she's like chasing people. She's kind of doing what she's supposed to do. Like, I don't expect.
See, people see a face and they're like, oh shit, it's her fault. Like, if it's bad dialogue, then it's the writer's fault.
Here's the SF Gazette, Sci-Fi Gazette, I guess. Their review. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a showcase for the immense talents of Ewan McGregor and Vivian Lyra Blair. And after just 2 episodes, it's already on par with The Mandalorian as the best Star Wars TV series yet.
I think it's a shitty show, to be quite honest.
Well, that says nothing. Like,
well, yeah, Mandalorian's best by default. This Boba Fett wasn't that great.
And Mandalorian sucks. So, yeah, sorry to break it to you. So,
best by default.
Yeah.
That's why I said by default.
I know, but the best yet is saying like they're not good shows anyway. Like to say that it's on par is like saying it's mediocre.
That's saying it's bad.
Yeah, that's what it's saying. It's like, yeah, it's already on the same level as like a show that's almost 90% filler, except for the last 20 minutes of the last episode of the second season. Like, all right, I guess that's praise. That's a bar that almost anybody can aspire to. So yeah, I guess Obi-Wan's getting review bombed. Valid, there are a fair few that appear valid in their criticisms, but other attack Ingram directly and making some baffling comments about the show, like it being unable to live up to the greatness of the prequels. Seriously, I mean the prequels are better than Obi-Wan right now. It's a bit sad, really, as there's just no need for any of this. Whatever, it didn't say. Captain Marvel was also review bombed because Brie Larson didn't smile enough. Eternals was targeted due to this. Oh God, what is this acronym? LGBTQIA plus.
So it's lesbian, gay, bisexual,
I don't know what the
trans. I can tell you, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, asexual plus.
Jesus Christ. I don't need to know all these. It doesn't
what
matter.
What does intersex mean?
It doesn't matter. It just means I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like I don't need to know that to talk about Star Wars, you know, like I don't need to know all this shit. Obi-Wan writer explains why the Jedi didn't know Anakin Skywalker had become Darth Vader. That was actually not something I pitched originally. That was something I discovered along the way and sort of had to confirm with Pablo Hidalgo and really think, hold on a second, what does he actually know? Does he know the moniker Vader? What would that mean? Can he associate the two? What was he cognizant of? Okay.
You know what that tells me? That tells me that he didn't really give a shit and kind of went on his own way. Because if you watched episode 3,
yeah,
he sees it. He already knows that Anakin was Vader and he thought he died. The minute he hears Vader, he should know that's Anakin.
Yeah, he saw the thing where his name is Vader and he thought he was dead. So he should have been able to associate that right away. So it's just whatever. Everything here just feels like fan fiction. Mad Max Fury Road prequel Furiosa starts production. Chris Hemsworth is also in it.
Okay.
And I guess Anya Taylor-Joy. Oh, she's going to be Furiosa? I thought it was going to be Charlize Theron.
Every time I see someone saying the New Mutants as like a film, so I'm like, did that movie ever come out?
It came out on streaming, I think. I never saw it.
Top Gun Maverick is apparently. Oh, I watched Top Gun. That's what I watched. I didn't finish it, to be honest. First of all, that movie has so much like gay stuff going on. It's really weird. Like all the men are constantly sweating and touching each other. Have you guys seen it?
You can be my wing time anytime.
I mean, yeah, but there's like some really obvious ones. I'm not even going for the low-hanging fruit, but like, why are they always like hot and sweaty and just like rubbing on each other all the time? Like every scene.
That's life in the Air Force.
I don't know. I just couldn't get through it. It was just boring to me. But apparently the new movie's pretty good.
People I know have told me that it's very patriotic, like over the top patriotic.
Well, I think the Navy like funded it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Also, apparently, like there's like Su-37s or whatever. Like apparently, there's more in the movie than there are in actual service, or something along those lines.
I mean, I could go out to see it, like not to review it, but I could see myself going out like in the morning when the tickets are cheap, just like letting the movie happen to me. I don't know. Some gaming news: Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales will be on PC in August.
Cool.
Ooh, that might be worth it because the mods that'll come out for that will be kick ass.
You can make Black Cat naked. Is the general consensus of
I have seen that actually.
Designer shares artwork and screens from the recently canceled Marvel MMO.
Fuck MMOs, dude. I hate
it. Thank God they canceled it.
So let's see some of the pictures, art.
Ever since Avengers.
This looks
Oh.
terrible.
Looks like Fortnite.
What the fuck is that?
Wow. You're making your own mutant, I'm guessing.
Why do they look like spies in disguise?
This is just bizarre. Oh, I don't like this. Thank God.
You guys have heard of Spies in Disguise, right? With Will Smith and Tom Holland.
No.
Yes, the pigeon movie.
Yeah. Look up Spies in Disguise. And tell me that doesn't look exactly like that.
Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah.
I don't know. That's
This
dumb.
movie exists?
Yeah. Will Smith's a secret agent that turns into a pigeon.
So it's old.
It's like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
2019. Interesting. Never even heard of that. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Rumor claims Darth Maul will be part of the Fallen Order sequel.
I believe it.
Cool. Probably won't play it, to be honest. Batgirl director reveals whether the Flash's delay means they will need to reshoot parts of the movie. We don't know when Batgirl is coming out. No one told us nothing about tweaks, just to carry on. The OG Batman is in the movie. Okay.
Okay.
Flash is on June 23rd, 2023. God damn. That's a year away.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come out in November.
Yep.
Ezra Miller has more time to fuck it up, I guess.
Well, they already filmed it. Like, they're not going to... Yeah, I don't think they're cutting him from that one. Deadpool 3 writers reveal Marvel Studios has been incredibly supportive of R-rated content.
I'm kind of done with Deadpool by now.
We'll see. I mean, having the MCU available means that they could do a lot more jokes. So I think it would be worth watching just for that. I don't know that I would want to see a Deadpool 4. I think it's pretty one note at this point.
I have the Deadpool figure, right?
Deadpool 2?
Yeah. It's actually not that bad.
No, it's not bad. I actually considered buying it many times just because I know that it's a decent figure, but I just don't like Deadpool enough. So they're thinking James Earl Jones. Let's see. More Darth Vader after Obi-Wan.
They want to do like his own show or something.
Live action take on Thanos' duel with her former master from Star Wars Rebels.
That's what I was talking about, where they like chopped his face and you see his face underneath the mask.
Yeah. Star Wars, Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie is a possibility, but it doesn't seem like a good fit. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I would say, yeah, they're just going to keep doing shit that breaks the continuity. So, Morbius star Jared Leto reveals sequel script, Morbius 2, It's Morbin Time. So basically, with all the memes, he decided to get in on the joke. And I feel like it kind of ruins the joke a little bit.
Yeah, it's like when...
I like that it got a re-release in theaters.
Like when kids have like an inside joke and their parents start doing it, so it sort of ruins it.
It's Morbin Time. It's just like not funny now.
I don't know. It's still kind of
still funny to me. Everything about it's funny to me.
So
cool it with the morbophobic remarks.
Morbius has re-released this weekend.
Yeah,
and like this is the
and
part.
It bombed a second time, I think.
When you talk about like politics or whatever, you have to understand how out of touch the people in charge are. Like, they're making fun of the movie. Did your movie make a lot of money? No. So when they're making fun of it online, why would you assume that they would go to the theater to see it?
Because these people are idiots. They see these jokes and they're like, wow, that must mean they actually like our movie.
Inflation is higher than it's ever been. People are going to go spend $20 to go sit in the theater to watch a movie that they never actually saw the first time.
I just want to point out that this finally puts to rest whether Morbius is better than Shang-Chi, because Shang-Chi didn't give a fucking re-release in theaters, but Morbius did. And it's a better fucking film.
So they did like somebody on Reddit was doing the math. It basically works out to like $82 a theater.
Yeah,
on
that's
average,
what I saw.
which is like four tickets, basically.
Wow.
But again, it's like nobody went to go see it the first time because it's like non-Marvel, non-MCU, and like they hate it, whatever. So they see the memes and they think that they're going to re-release it and to make a little bit more money. I mean, I guess they made money. I don't know how much it costs to re-release it, like to put it in theaters. I have to assume that's a significant chunk of that money. But I still don't appreciate how like the movie flopping all over again. Like that's such a rude headline.
Well, I just think it's funny that everyone's pretending like this movie fucking sucks when it is the exact same or better than Shang-Chi. But everyone was like, no, Shang-Chi's amazing. Or the fucking Disney Plus shows. Like, what are you talking about?
So I watched Shang-Chi. I rewatched it a while ago.
How long was a while ago?
Like a month ago. I put it on in the background. It was so stupid. Whatever. I got to the third act where they're going to have the big battle. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to pause here. I don't really feel like watching this, but I'll come back to it later. And at least I won't have to watch the rest of the bullshit. I'll just watch like the ending with all the action. I put it on. I'm already like, this fucking sucks. I'm sitting there watching it. You know, Tony Leung is doing his thing. And I'm like, you know, he's not bad. This is the best part of the movie. Shang-Chi gets the rings. The dragons come out. I'm slowly like, I don't care. I don't care. I just start fast forwarding through it. I get to the part, I have to watch the part where she shoots him with the arrow. And like, it just comes out of nowhere. She's just like, oh my God, I did it. And I was just like, off. I can't do this. This is just the dumbest movie ever.
And then you turned Morbius on.
Yeah. So like to say it's flopping all over again, it's like, how is it flopping a second time? Like, what was the expectation? There is no expectation. It can't flop.
It's dogpiling. I'm telling you, the fans just they acknowledge criticism and things they don't want to like.
So it seems like Obi-Wan might get a second season, which is probably maybe the worst announcement you could make creatively.
I don't know how or why they'd do that.
They're extremely happy with the premiere numbers. Tentative plans for a second season. Let's see. Ewan McGregor has expressed interest in returning. Another clash with Vader is unlikely. That would be Maul for sure. And some of the spoilers. Yeah. Reva being killed by Darth Vader for pretending to have slain the Jedi. Okay. So now she might survive. Oh, great. So then now it's an unsatisfying ending. Whatever. I don't even want to. Who cares? There's been a lot of talk about how the show isn't that great. And I was telling Emerson last night, it's because they've been watching mediocre television for so long. It takes this long to become aware of like the flaws in what they're watching. It's very filler. It's very formulaic. It's very predictable. It's very safe. It's very unsatisfying. But they're just now getting to the point where they're starting to realize, and they think the problem is this show. It's like, no, they've all been like that. You just couldn't see it before. There was a new Miss Marvel thing where she like deals with her powers or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
It's like 15 seconds of her just like, I don't know.
I saw they were like on the red carpet or something for it. Because it comes out in like a week, right?
I think it's pretty
streaming
soon.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Superman DC Insider says key to Warner Brothers' success is focusing on Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's because
I'd like to see him again.
Yeah. They need to get a Superman movie off the ground. The Insider will go on to say that Zaslav's team should scratch every Superman project in development and start fresh with Cavill. Okay, so no one agrees with him, is what he's saying.
Okay.
10 must-see team-ups in the DC universe: Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
I don't care.
Don't care. Yeah. Superman, Shazam.
It could be interesting.
I'd like to see them fight.
Huntress and Power Girl. Don't care.
Don't care.
Batgirl and Nightwing.
Maybe.
Superman and Wonder Woman.
We've basically seen
I
that.
mean, I don't know that you can really do the relationship with Amy Adams if she's alive. The Flash and the Green Lantern.
Don't care.
Okay. I mean, they're friends, sure, I guess. The Joker and Lex Luthor. No, not interested. Maybe at one point I would have been interested. I'm not anymore. Deadshot Harley Quinn.
No, thank you.
No Deadshot Harley Quinn.
That's number 3.
Flash meets the Flash.
That could be interesting. Doing that. That could be interesting.
Batman and Robin.
That doesn't count. They're the dynamic duo.
Wow, that's a really fucking weird picture.
Yeah.
It looks like he's like in Batman's chest.
Yeah, it's his cape, I guess. Yeah, so none of that really was interesting to me at all. What would you say for the Marvel? Like, what team ups do we need to see?
I want to see Red Skull and Falcon, and Red Skull like keeps calling him racially insensitive terms.
I would like to see team ups. I don't know.
I mean, like Black
The problem is
Panther and
anything
what's-his
could
face,
theoretically
Namor.
be interesting with like decent writing, but I know that's not going to happen. So it's like,
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm out of time. I gotta go, so we can't do the smart ass. So just save it for next week, Everett.
Okay, no problem.
All right. I will see you guys next time.
see you guys later.